Welcome. I am Dion from Eflowtion. Welcome to another Tap and Chat. And today we're going to do an intuitive EFT Tap and Chat on You Are Love. Plain and simple. Done. See you later. No. I guess with all EFT Tap and Chats, we tend to tap along on the meridian points on the side of the hand there. And if you know the different points that are in the body, feel free to tap along. So there's always the two components to it, the intuitive part, and then I guess the tapping part is an intuitive part as well. But there's the intuitive chat at the start and then the actual tapping. So we'll not only talk about an issue, we'll try and reduce an issue at the same time. So now the topic of You Are Love, and really apart from the title, that's about it. That's all I've got. But when I thought of the title, well, not actually thought, I felt the title. It was a feeling. It just felt right to actually do an EFT tapping on. And I chose the picture of the person sitting in the room, like hunched over, hugging their knees sort of thing, almost like they're in a prison sort of thing. And because I could have chose, you know, the classical love pictures and all that. But I guess where I wanted to go with this, this feeling of You Are Love is sometimes when you don't have love, or you are not able to give that love to yourself. And I realize I've done a tapping video on self-love, and this is probably a little bit different to that, where it's almost like a barrenness, like a barren desert of no love, like there is no nurturing. It's sort of like arid soil within ourselves, like that, where we feel, or we yearn for love, and we can't seem to get that from others or from ourselves, which can actually be quite distressing to oneself. And sometimes, rather than looking at what we want, it's like looking at the reasons as to why we can't. Like you can only bang your head against the wall so many times until you realize, like, why am I actually doing this? What is the actual cause of me having to, well, almost feel as if you're lacking or don't deserve love. And sometimes that can be a case for many, but I know it was for myself, like to say like self-love or I love myself without any sort of like, I guess ego to it, like compassionately loving of oneself. It was actually quite hard for me to say, sort of thing. And when we look at sometimes why we can't love ourselves, or we can't receive love from others, or even get looking to others for that love rather than giving ourselves the love first, there could be something. And rather than repeating the same cycles, it could be like just pausing for a moment and looking inward. It could be looking at some element of ourselves that we may find lacking, or we may find unworthy and undeserving. Now, like, I can be a weird person sometimes. Like when I look at people, like I know this is going to sound completely bizarre, but like I don't see them as adults, sort of thing. Like as like not where I'm going with this is I see them as what happened since then, like from a child sort of thing, like what happened since that you got to where you are in life and feeling undeserving and unworthy of love. And many things in life can actually happen to you consistently and almost chip away at that core resonance of who you truly are, because you love, and that you're a loving person. As babies, it's like when you're born, sort of thing, you're born into an environment, and as babies you tend to absorb what's in your environment. And some have loving environments and some have not loving environments. And sometimes you could have a loving environment but go into the world into a toxic environment, sort of thing. And this is not like a blaming of parents, and that it's not that at all. And sometimes it's like that chicken and the egg sort of thing. It's like not blaming the chicken and not blaming the egg, sort of thing, because it gets into that blame cycle. It's just looking and pressing pause on ourselves and figuring out, hey, why am I feeling a lack of within myself? With like sometimes, I guess, as this is a reframing, like looking at it at different points of view, you could look at it as in like, well, I'll choose a few different points and definitely tap along, because the reason we tap is to reduce any discomfort within the body. It's not just, I'm clapping my hands sort of thing. It's like I'm actually tapping to activate a meridian point that will actually release any sort of stored up stuff. And I guess one way to look at it is like, I'll start by going outward with the love, or seeking love. With that seeking of love outwards, like there is that desire to fill a void that might not never be filled because it's not the other person's position to fill that, sort of thing. It's like, it's almost like within ourselves there is like a leaky bottom, sort of thing. Not, as far as our vessel itself, our body, our mind, there's a few cracks in there, there's a few wounds, there's a few scars where things are leaking out. And as much as you seek that comfort, that love from other people, when you might be going from person to person trying to find this, it's almost like pouring water into a leaky cup. It's always going to pour out, sort of thing, until you actually resolve some of those leaks, some of those scars, some of those wounds. Then it's then you've actually got space to hold love, and that other people's love and your own love. And of course, with like energy, sort of thing, it's like, I don't have the battery with me today, I don't think, but if you were relying on a power source or a battery or someone else's love to fill that void within yourself, then at some point that will get drained for the other person, and therefore it might lead to breakups. It might lead to like splintering of families, this sort of thing, because we are kind of fractured within ourselves, and we're seeking that love energy, I guess, from other people. I'm really hesitating with this one, but I think it's worth to be said. But also with like parents with children sort of thing, having a child for that source of love. I'm not going to say it's a good thing or a bad thing. I can just give it a point of view, because in many different situations it could work and it might not work. But also looking at it as, if the child is that healing of the love or that source of love, then that's a lot on the child's shoulders to actually carry. And if the child fails doing that, is that the child's fault? And does the child get the blame for that? And I understand that that could trigger. So I'm hoping that people are tapping along. And once again, it's looking to a source of, if I have this, then I will feel something within myself. And it could be with friends, it could be the people you hang out with, that even though it seems like a good thing, you might walk away or be in situations that are quite either life-threatening and not too good for yourself, for that short high of love. I mean, many forms of addiction are not so much the chemical that you're addicted to, it's that sense of self-soothing, that sense of self-comforting, that sense of trying to nurture yourself. Unfortunately, the chemicals do take effect, and a lot of adverse reactions can actually happen from seeking that love. Now, that love within ourselves, being able to actually hold that love within ourselves, to say, hey, I love myself, and not feel like, you know, breaking into tears or whatever sort of thing. I've been there, I know. I think, and sometimes there's that, well, you know, it's like you can't say you love yourself because, you know, you'll be considered this or that and that. And a lot of that is that same programming that prevents you from achieving that self-love, and then the cycle continues where you just continue on beating your head against the wall. So it's almost like either quieting that voice or the people telling you that, because, I mean, if you go in a cycle and are going nowhere, but the cycle is like going downwards, then it might be worth a question of why, or looking at who is telling you and who do you actually value, who lifts you up and who depresses you. In the sense of, as I was saying, in the sense of loving of ourselves, I would go to as a point of reference to the Latin root of the word trauma. I've said this before, is wounding. It means to be wounded or wounding. That's actually what trauma is. It's a wound. It's just another way of saying it. It's a wound, like you cut your arm, you got a wound. You also can get a lot of emotional wounds. And those emotional wounds can build up, can actually affect you physiologically. Where, like, take something as simple as anger. I say simple because everyone understands anger. Everyone's at least been angry at some stage in their lives. If what's an example? If you try to if you try to get something like love and it doesn't work, or say if love is actually used against you as a weapon, for example, if like if you don't do this, that you'll be seen as a bad person, or people will not like you, or if you don't have that thing, people won't accept you, sort of thing. And I guess acceptance, that familiarity, which is another word for family, sort of thing, having a family where you're a part of something, a crowd, whether it be your actual family or like a social group, you can get rejected. And sometimes that can make you angry. Or if you're getting yelled at, sort of thing, for something that you didn't do, and you're expected not to have any emotional response to that, you're just there to take it, basically, then that can be a lot of suppressed anger. And that anger can be actually quite, I mean, think about when you've been angry. Have you been all nice and loosey-goosey, sort of thing, like all free and caring? Or have you been like really tense? Your shoulders are tense. It's like, well, there's a problem that you're trying to work through and your forehead is tense and your eyes are constricted and your neck, back of your neck, and you're suddenly getting headaches and everything like that. And your stomach, it's like you can't actually eat, or it's like diarrhea, or your heart might start racing, or you might sweat a lot when having to confront a person, or you might start shaking. But if, say, for example, if you can't healthily express any of this anger, then it doesn't magically go away. And it sometimes, even to talk about it, sort of thing, without any discharge, it'll just stay stored there, and all that tense feeling will actually start constricting a lot of stuff in your body, which could lead to narrowing of arteries, your heart, build-up of stuff, sort of thing, all because you couldn't express yourself and be heard and have your or have your love torn apart, sort of thing. And if love is getting torn apart, any tear is a wound in the body. So it's almost like a lot of, you could say from a point of view that a lot of health conditions out there are from a form of unhealthy love, or a receiving of an unhealthy love. And the reason I say that is there is healthy love out there. There is a lot of good out there. And there is a lot of good within our own selves if we allow it to I guess, have the trust to blossom again. Because it's almost like someone's come up to a beautiful rose and crushed it, sort of thing, and said, don't you dare grow. Which is actually very not nice for the rose, of course. But given the right nurturing, the right care, the right self-care, the right self-love, it can blossom again or grow anew. It can transform into maybe another rose, another flower, whatever it be. So, but with everything, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, as a point of like a visual point of reference, if you look on YouTube, for example, there's those, like, or on Facebook, they seem to be on there quite a bit, where an animal, a dog, for example, it seems to be a lot of dogs or cats, have been trapped somewhere and they're in pain, and or they're stuck down a hole, and then some loving person comes along and has the time and patience and knows that they're probably going to get better in the process, but they're there to actually help this poor wounded animal, or this poor trapped animal. And this animal itself, it may have come from a home where it had love, or it might have, like if it was an animal trained to fight, for example, it might not know what you're trying to do, even though you're offering it love. And a lot of what I see in these videos is that with that time, with that patience, the animal itself, the dog, the cat, slowly begins to trust, slowly begins to go, hey, that hand that used to come to hit me is actually a different hand that's actually coming to give me a bowl of food, or trying to pat me, self-soothe me. I'm not sure if I trust it. I might growl at it, sort of thing, because I've been hurt so many times before. But I don't seem to be getting the same outcome. I don't seem to be getting the same pain. And it might be safe to start opening up. And why I say opening up is a lot of, with these animals, they don't want to go too far, or they don't want to get too close. But once they have that trust, then they're running free, they're running through the streets. It's like, it's a completely transformed animal. Now, the same too could be said for humans, for example. You get a result of like the same outcome, the same pain, the same reaching out, getting hurt, trying your best, but the best is never good enough. And that pain starts to constrict you. You don't want to reach out anymore. And for some people, that could actually be that could be the call. I think that in the end, like the examples of the person helping the animal, the person is only, I guess, facilitating a sense of trust. It comes to the actual animal itself, or it comes to the person to start venturing into their own sense of self, to I guess feel safe within themselves and trust their own selves to love again. And what I mean by that is to break a cycle comes awareness. And with awareness is that to get off a treadmill that's taking you nowhere is to understand that some of these are our own thought patterns. We might be stuck in a loop of habitual thinking. And it's not our fault that we got that way. It's almost like a response that we've actually been, like a record in a groove. We're just skipping, playing the same tune, and it doesn't sound too nice to anyone. And a lot of our survival patterns, because to actually trust and let go is to step into a new self, which is almost like shedding an old skin and stepping into a whole new sense of self. And it's almost as if, why let go of something that has kept me alive for so long? And when you address, is it actually keeping you alive for so long, or is it keeping you in a state of suffering? And is it keeping you in a place where it's fear? You might be alive, but you're like entombed in fear. You're entombed in not wanting to go, and it's quite logical thinking in a way, like why do something else that may give me a bit of emotional freedom and physical freedom. And some of these things are like some of it could actually be, you might be aware of that, but it's like, well, if I do that, then the people around me, the people that I perceive are not causing me suffering, even though I may have to leave that behind, or it no longer suits myself. And that can be a scary thought, I understand. But once again, it's like, it's almost a choice between letting go of a pure, scary, but familiar darkness and stepping into something that is a bit unfamiliar, but is not as heavy and scary. And it actually kind of feels nice. And I guess when you've received love, unconditional love, or just an appreciation of something in life that actually fills you with joy, and you have that sense of joy, and rather than looking at it for other people or in substances or whatever it is, having that sense of joy within yourself, that then you no longer need that scary darkness. But it's also good to acknowledge the scary darkness, because without the scary darkness, you don't know what the positive is, sort of thing. So they exist together. But it's whether it's almost as if I was to say to you, do you want to walk around for the rest of your life in a suit of armor, a heavy suit of armor, or would you like to take it off and move a bit more freely? And you can put the armor back on when you need it, of course. But when all danger is gone, you can move a bit more freely through life. And definitely with that tense feeling that we get when we're armoring up, basically, or we're in constant armor, or we're in constant physical pain or constant mental pain, then it's a thought to consider whether you want to step into something that is a bit more freeing. Like, once again, like when a headache goes away, it's like, you definitely remember the headache as like, as far as like, you don't want another one, but you're definitely moving through life a bit more easily without the headache. So in order for this love to happen, to recognize that you are a love, is to let go of the parts that are telling you that you are not. And that part of your subconscious thinking that pops up into the conscious and probably holds you back from so much in life and receiving so much in life, abundance in life, is that which is holding you back, which no longer serves you. So how about we do an EFT tapping, if you're willing, and we'll do an EFT tap. I'll just have a quick drink. we'll do a quick EFT tapping on that. You are love and you're deserving of that love. So with all EFT, we do a setup statement 3 times in each hand. Other EFT practitioners all do differently. It all does the same stuff. And then we'll tap on the meridian points. And just whatever I say, I'll do a pause. You just repeat either out loud or in your mind. And we'll do a tapping, and also maybe rate on a SUD scale, a subjective unit of distress scale, where that sense of not feeling like you deserve love or you're trusting of love, 0 being a brief pause, 0 being you're okay, like you're fine with self-love or any sense of love for yourself, and 10 being like it's a major issue for you. So taking full responsibility for your own well-being, let's begin to tap. Even though I feel as if I am not love, and I don't deserve love, and I'm not trusting of love, I still deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I feel as if trying to love or opening my heart just opens it up to be stabbed again. I'm open to deeply and completely loving and accepting myself, even though when I don't receive love, it really hurts, and it hurts every part of my body, and I don't want it anymore, and I feel I don't deserve it. I'm still open to loving and accepting myself. Top of the head. All this love for myself. I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all. If I open up, I just open up so many vulnerabilities. So many opportunities to get hurt again. And I'm choosing to shut down. And armor up. To shield myself from this love. This terrible, terrible love that causes me terrible, terrible pain. And when I reach out and try to be vulnerable again, same result. I knew it. I shouldn't have been vulnerable. I shouldn't have put my heart on the line just to have it stomped on again. Feels crap. And it's not worth the effort. And maybe I'm not worth the effort. And maybe I'm not deserving of love. So I hide from it. But don't let it touch me. It just causes more pain. All this love. All this love. All this love I look for all. And all these other people. Seeking that love. Seeking that comfort. Seeking that self-serving. That I just don't know how to give to myself. And when that person or people don't give me that love, I either push them away or I get trapped down that hole. Waiting for the next person to save me. And I might look at substances. For that brief, fleeting moment where I can just feel good. Just not be myself. Be something else. But when it wears away, it's like there's a terrible void that never gets filled. And maybe, just maybe, this void that needs to be filled this sink that needs to be plugged so that it can receive love. Unconditional love. And love that won't hurt me. Or where I won't hurt myself. It comes from fixing the leaks in the sink. And addressing those scars. All those wounds. Where I'm just leaking badly. So maybe I might be open to patching up some of these holes within myself. Some of these wounds. Because if I'm honest with myself, sometimes I might be hurting myself with either thoughts or feelings, or physically, when I might be completely alone. And sometimes that aloneness causes me fear and causes me pain. And some of these thoughts and feelings might have been there for a long time. And I might be hitting my head against the wall. We're just getting the same results in life. Because I know no other way. And I'm not bad or stupid for that. It might have been what I've learnt, what I've been taught, or just how I survive. But maybe rather than just surviving through life, I want to thrive. And I want to grow within myself. Grow a sense of love within myself. So I'm going to clear out some of this negative thinking. That I don't deserve love. And that I'm not love. I'm going to clear out all this negative feelings I have for myself. Because I can be a pretty good person. And some of this goodness people don't appreciate, or they don't like, so they'll try and stomp it down. So I'm going to look at the people around me and say to myself, are they lifting me up, or just making me feel depressed? I want to be up, not down. I'm clearing the cycle of thought. The cycle of blame. I'm clearing this blame of myself. I'm clearing this blame that says to myself that you're bad or stupid. It's like when there's a bad situation that happens and a person did their best to survive a terrible situation. Everyone sits around watching the video, says, well, I wouldn't have done that. I did the best I could in the situation. I survived all those terrible things. But rather than surviving through life, I want to thrive through life. But I need to be able to trust within myself that I'm deserving of love, deserving of compassion. I'm clearing this fear within myself. I'm clearing this fear within myself. I'm allowing myself to trust again. I'm allowing myself to trust again. When someone makes me feel good, I hear what they're saying, but I'm not dependent on that goodness, because I feel good within myself already. I'm letting go of that fear. I'm clearing that old programming. I'm shedding myself of that armor. I'm imagining a life where I deserve love. And this life is going to be this life. I'm deserving of love because I am love. It just got hurt in mind, body, and spirit. Just taking a deep breath in. And seeing where that sits for you. I don't imagine that it would, as this is a global tapping in EFT, this would be called global. But there is also specific, which would be dealing specifically with your individual situation, your history, your environment, everything sort of thing, to actually help clear some of those mistrust or fear or anger or whatever it is. But it might be that thing that actually goes, hey, that might have not felt too good in my body, or it might have flicked a switch of a different way of thinking. It may have done nothing, and that's completely fine. But seeing where you are with that sense of that you are love, and if you'd like to explore it more, of course, I'm one of 2 EFT practitioners. My wife is also an EFT practitioner, and I'm also a Soma breath instructor. And we do online sessions where we could actually do a bit more of your specific issues around that sort of thing. And you might find that beneath all these layers of the old onion sort of thing, there might be a peeling back of what was not authentic love and getting to actually the core of what is your true self. So I'm Dion from Eflowtion, and if you're interested in that session, check out the website and www.eflowtion.com and book in a session, and we will help you get to the center of the onion. Alrighty, I'm Dion, and have a very positive day.